So, Carl, it's been a great 12 months for Anthony Joshua. All those fights, the massive display against Ngannou. What does he do now? Does he wait for Fury Usyk? Does he take Hrgovic if one of the titles becomes free? What does he do? What would you do?
If I'm AJ, I think I take a Hrgovic fight. I think that Hrgovic is made for AJ. I think that it's a very, very winnable fight for AJ. I think I have him as a strong favourite in that fight. And it keeps a bit of momentum going while he's waiting. He can't wait on Usyk and Fury to potentially have 2 fights.
Could be May next year.
Could be 3 fights maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I think take a fight and hopefully get the winner after it.
And do you think the idea that he's had so many fights, you're talking about fight after fight after fight, 4 fights inside a 12-month period. Well, I'm putting words in your mouth. It has to be good, doesn't it?
I like it. I like it. I mean, we complain a lot when fighters aren't that active. I think that, look, as long as the fights aren't too hard, which they haven't been, then fight all the time. Yeah. I mean, AJ's someone who, in my mind, is someone who lives in the gym. He's always in the gym.
He's been back in the gym 48 hours after beating Ngannou. I know it wasn't a hard fight, but he was still back in the gym.
No harm in AJ having 4 fights a year.
Yeah. And finally, Carl, are you bothered that we don't see AJ and Fury until, I think it's going to be at least 2025. Could be even late 2025. Yeah. Is that just the business?
That's just the way it is. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Now, Carl, you weren't ringside in Saudi with me, and I can tell you, and I know you trust me, when Ngannou went down in that second round for the second time, I was worried for him because he went down so heavily over his legs. Luckily, he got up, he was okay. Should he stay in boxing, go back to MMA? What you're an advisor to Ngannou, what are you saying?
Ultimately, it's up to him, but the money he's making in boxing is incredible. I don't know if he gets that sort of money for another boxer. Nowhere near it, but I mean the money's still good. It's better than anything he'd done in the UFC previous to that. I know he signed up with this new PFL. I think he called it.
It is, yeah.
I mean, there's a way for there's still fights out there for him. And he put a very, very credible performance in against Fury, where a lot of people actually thought that he won the fight.
Because of what happened against AJ, by the way.
He's had 2 boxing matches, a close one against whom the majority of boxing fans think is the lineal heavyweight champion on the planet, and then a blowout against AJ. And that's what happens in heavyweight boxing. So if he wants, I think there's still a space for him at the table in boxing events.
Now, of course, what would happen, though, is that he wouldn't be allowed to go to the bottom of the pile and work his way up. He'd probably only be shifting left or shifting right. So he'd be matched, in another big fight where the same thing could happen. That's my only fear.
Absolutely. I mean, there's about, you take the top guys out of the equation, there's maybe 15 other guys scrambling around that, and there's fighters in that 15 he might beat.
And he would like to fight in for the money as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we think Ngannou will stay in the business. Your gut feeling is
I think he will.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. That's what AJ said to him in the ring after the fight, and I tend to agree with that. A year or so ago, Joseph Parker was Joseph Parker. Nice guy. But he'd lost in some big fights. Suddenly, he has a couple of good wins. Then he has a brilliant win against Deontay Wilder. Then he has a hard win against Zhilei Zhang. He's back, and he's in that top 5.
He's back. Absolutely, he's back easily in the top 5. I think we're talking about Ben Davison and AJ and the link up there, but Andy Lee, the job that he's been doing with Joseph Parker has been incredible. I think the most improved heavyweight of the top guys, certainly, and probably, and I've made that statement before, a better fighter now than he was when he was a world champion.
100%. When he went back to the corners after the couple of knockdowns, especially after the first knockdown, he was hurt. Didn't look like much of a knockdown, but it's a big old 21 stone man, 6'10" or whatever, catching you, and he was hurt. And I saw the way Andy was working. He was no more than about 6 feet away from me, Carl. And him and Andy, they've got a link. Yeah. I mean, and you know what I mean by that. You can really sense it.
There's a discussion in the corners. It's not just a fighter sitting there being told what to do and not asking questions. He's talking back. He's communicating with Andy Lee, and I quite like that. And I think that the advice was always sound. One bit of advice that stuck in my head when Andy Lee was talking to him was, be really careful for the first 30 seconds in each round, because that's when he's dangerous.
That was his
he was absolutely right.
That was Zhang's absolute danger. I thought the decision was right, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was hard, it was tight, and I know he got knocked down twice, but I still thought he won.
I thought he won the fight.
Yeah, and so he goes forward, as we go forward in 2024, he's right in that mix. Yeah. He could get any one of the calls for any one of the fights.
And what I like is they've started, there was kind of, not as if he's calling Fury out, but he's opened the fight with Fury. Yeah. Whereas a year before that, it
No
looked like they were
chance.
best mates. That was never going to happen. So I quite like that.
Yeah. What he said to me was, he said, if Fury called him up, he said, if Fury calls me up, Steve, and says, Joe, let's fight. Take the fight. We're going to make $20 million.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
And he's done it before with his mate. You look at what's happened with Derek.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Because so stranger things have happened than Joseph Parker and Tyson Fury, two great friends, families all together in Morecambe, holidays around the world, and fight each other.
Absolutely.
What a business.
It's a business. That's all it is. Money talks, Bunce.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, we don't swear. I'll just say two words to you, then I'll leave. Tyson and Paul. That's Mike Tyson, obviously, and Jake Paul.
I don't like it, Bunce. I think Tyson's a living legend, but he's approaching 60 years of age. Not that long ago, there was footage of him in a wheelchair after some sort of back operation or back problems that he's had. I just don't like the fight. It's hard to see an old Mike Tyson beating someone like Jake Paul, a young athletic man who's big and strong and powerful. I would love to see him win. I just don't like the fight at all.
But there's going to be 80,000 people there who are buying into the event, and I don't doubt it'll be a massive event. Everyone will make money, everybody. The one thing that concerns me slightly is when we see these clips of Tyson and he does his signature 4-punch, 5-punch move. Of course he can do it, but the clips are 7 to 12 seconds long. I want to see second 20, second 30.
You've never seen a 30-second clip.
No.
It's all about wee short bursts, and anyone can look good doing that. And Tyson, I mean, look, he was an incredible fighter, but he's nearly a 60-year-old man.
And you remember when he fought Roy Jones, it was a glorified spar, so they're touching each other and getting things out. But do you remember when Holyfield fought that guy, the former MMA guy, and Holyfield fell over and he was like an old man. It was horrible to watch.
Horrible to watch. And I think it could be another case of that.
Yeah, I do too. I'm with you. I'm completely against it. I understand the spectacle. I understand the attraction. I can understand both of those things and still dislike it. I can square that with myself. So if we're called to go and do it, are we going? Arlington, Texas, 80,000 people?
I'll be there, absolutely, but I still don't like it.
What a business.